Hello everyone, Victor here. Welcome to the first episode of Know Your Map series, where I tackle questions, concerns, thoughts on different topics related to Company of Heroes 2 map elements. You can find the content of what this video will discuss here or in the description box below, where I will put the timestamps for your convenience. Unlike a lot of big RTS games like StarCraft, Warcraft, Age of Empires, Command Conquers, in which players gain their resources with the use of gathering workers, Company of Heroes 2 has its resources generated passively. The capture points located around the maps are the means for players to boost their income gain for economic advantage, allowing faster access to technologies like tanks, infantry upgrades, or abilities. In this episode, we'll have a closer look at the mechanic of capturing a point. This is the basic mechanic of the game, which players perform naturally and tend to overlook the details. There are four main types of capture points in the game, and what we see here is a visual representation of each type of capture points, and the amount of resource they can provide to the team holding it per minute. They require a different amount of time to be captured or decaptured, and the time indicated in these cards here are based on standard capture rate, which I'll discuss in the later part of the video. So it usually takes 15 in-game seconds to finish capturing a normal capture point. Both fuel and munition points take double that amount of time at 30 seconds, and victory point require 20 seconds to be captured. Decapture doesn't take as much time to be done as capturing. According to the results, it takes a point only 2/3 of its capturing time to be neutralized. It takes only 10 seconds to neutralize a standard capture point controlled by the enemy team, 20 seconds for fuel and munition, and 13.3 seconds for victory points. Next question is, how do we capture a point? Simple. You just have to send a unit, typically infantry, to the point's vicinity, which is displayed by a circle around it. Once the unit enters a zone, a wheel will indicate how close we are to completing the progress. Should the unit leave the area before the progress is completed, the point will gradually revert back to its original state. From player perspective, the points will feature blue flag if it belongs to their team, and red flag if it belongs to the opponent. Decapturing can be done in the same fashion as capturing. While capturing's purpose is to claim the point to your team, decapturing's purpose is to deny the opponent's possession of their territory. The act of decapturing will not immediately switch ownership of the point, but instead neutralize it for your team to capture. One thing to note is that capturing and decapturing will not proceed like normal if there is a presence of an enemy unit or an enemy cache in the area around the capturing point until they are removed. In an example here, I tried to capture a point. However, an enemy squad entered the area and blocked me from finishing my capture. The process did not continue until I removed the squad from the area. Same rule applies. The enemy here could not decapture my point as long as my squad is present in the circle. Now that we know how a point can be captured, which unit can perform this act? For the purpose of the video, I categorize units into 3 different categories. Units that can capture a point by default, with their ability, or with commanded ability. By default, all infantry units and team weapons in the game can capture a point. There are 2 exceptions in this case though. One is the OKW Kubelwagen, or Kubel for short, and the USF, the WC-51 truck, both of whom are light vehicle, but they can capture a point like any other unit. A variation of this category that some player may not know is transporting vehicle. All half-track or truck variants carrying 1 or more infantry unit can capture points at the same rate the infantry it carries has. In USF case, this does not count the driver of their vehicle. For the second category, units that can capture a point with their ability, we first have 3 tanks from Soviet Union faction, the T-70, T-3476, and T-3485. They're all nimble tanks whose Veteran C1 bonus allows them to unlock their capturing abilities, which lock their guns when they toggle on. Next, we have units from the USF. All USF vehicles, with the exception of Pershing tank, Sherman Calliope, and Priest howitzer motor carriage, have access to their faction's unique ability, Vehicle Crew Disembark. This ability will allow US vehicle to eject their tank drivers out, and as a normal infantry, these guys can capture a point. Being able to capture points without the presence of infantry allows these factions to be a lot more mobile and flexible with their strategy, so they can make some sick plays when the situation calls for it. As for the last type, we can draw a conclusion from the previous parts of the video that vehicle cannot capture points under normal circumstances. However, some commander abilities allow them to do so. In an example here, we have a British tank captures its standard points thanks to a commander ability called Raid Operation. As to which commander unlocks this feature and what rate they give to the vehicle, I'll show you a bit later in the video. We mentioned standard capture rate a lot throughout the video, and of course, just like most things in life, there are exceptions to the rule. Multiple units in the game have hidden stats that allow them to capture a point faster than other units. As of the day I recorded this video, I have not found any unit with slower capture rate than the standard infantry, and so we will ignore this possibility. I will list them accordingly to their factions. Starting off with the OKW, we have two units, the Kubel and the Panzerfusilier. While Kubel possesses the higher capture rate by default, Panzerfusilier gain access to this trait when they get to the Veteran C4, and they both share the rate of 1.15. Next is the Wehrmacht, and we have a rather odd case here. The Stormtrooper do not have any capture rate bonus, and instead, it goes to their decapture rate, which clocks at 1.33. Combining with their ability to be spawned from ambient building, Stormtrooper is an extremely good choice for cutting off an enemy territory or saving a clutch VP game. And their other special unit is the Assault Grenadier, who gain their bonus through a Veteran Squad Leader upgrade at Battle Phase 2. Given their aggressive nature, it can be hard to keep them alive for the majority of the match. However, those who do will enjoy their 1.25 capture and decapture rate, making them one of the best capture point contesting unit in the game. Next, on to the Allies side. Coming from the Soviet Union, we have the Partisans. The capture rate of 1.25 applies to both Submachine Gun Partisan and the Tank Hunter variant. Given the same spawning ability as a Stormtrooper, these sneaky guys are also great at pestering the enemy backline. Lastly, we have the British. I said lastly because USF unfortunately do not possess any special unit with faster capture rate, so yeah, glory to the Queen. Anyhow, our spotlight will now focus on infantry section, the core infantry. While they can bathe in the glory for being the only core infantry unit to have the 1.25 capturing bonus, they do not have any advantage in decapturing. Bearing the same model type as infantry section, anti-tank infantry section also enjoy the same bonus, so maybe that will give you a tiny bit more incentive to use them, since they are useful at capturing points. After seeing all of this information, infantry section probably is the best capturing unit in the game. While Partisan and upgraded Assault Grenadier indeed capture and decapture faster as a whole, the accessibility, independence from commander roster, and the combat stats really give infantry section a lot of credits. To put all of the capture rate number into context, here I set up an experiment between a British infantry section and their Royal Engineer. As you can see, the infantry section finished capturing at 24 seconds, and the Royal Engineer finished capturing at 30 seconds, which means the infantry section capture with 20% less time and an equivalence of 25% faster, which is as reflected in their capture rate. Okay, on to the next part. If you remember that I mentioned earlier about some commander abilities that enhance your capturing rate, it is now that I take a deeper dive into them and explore exactly how those ability works. Firstly, the OKW. Their breakthrough ability coming from the breakthrough doctrine allow your infantry to neutralize your opponent points for only the third of your usual duration. Simply put, 66.6 less time or 3 times faster decap. Next, we have the Wehrmacht or the Austere, whichever you prefer. They're lucky to have 3 abilities. Counterattack Tactics is simply breakthrough, but only apply to capture time. Then, we have the Assault and Hold. This ability enables your infantry to capture and decapture twice as fast. Combining with the combat boost, this ability is among the best capturing rate enhancing ability in the game. Lastly, their ability Breakthrough allows their vehicle to decap at 4 times the speed. The capture rate, however, is the same as normal infantry units. With the massive reduction of decapture time, players can also use this ability as a means to quickly take down a VP or economy instead of having to wait for their ultimate. Close the pocket. Now is the Allies' turn. US only have one ability called Raid Tactic. It provides their light vehicle with a 2.5 capture and decapture rate. Remember, even without this ability, USF player can still use their vehicle crew disembark to capture a point if needed. And then on to the British. They possess two abilities called Raid Operation from Vanguard Operation Regiment and Smoke Raid Operation from Commando Regiment. While they share a relatively same name and serve the same purpose, their functionality and potency are very different. As you can see in this table here, Smoke Raid Operation only enhances the infantry's capture rate. Meanwhile, Raid Operation have this bonus applied to both capture and decapture rate, and on top of that, it also allows UKF vehicle to capture just like any standard infantry for the duration. Looking at all of these abilities, we can clearly see that two abilities that modify the capture rate the most is Assault and Hold and Raid Operation. However, the crown should be bestowed to Raid Operation due to their influence on vehicle as well. And in case you wonder, yes, Infantry Section fast capture bonus will also work on top of this ability. If you see in this clip here, Infantry Section squad with Raid Operation buff will only take 22 seconds to take the munition point away from the opponent, from decapping and then capping as well, while most other units will take 20 seconds just to decap this point. Alright, here we are at the last part of this video. While doing research for this topic, I also thought of some scenarios that may involve the theories above. One common situation that we run into is having multiple squads on the same point. Now, quick question for you guys. If we have two squads with different capture rate going into the same point, what would happen? A. Would the capture rate be decided by the unit that first stepped onto the point and then stay fixed that way? Or B. Would the capture rate be the average of the two units? Or C. Would the capture rate be the best one among the units in the area? You can now pause this video for a moment and guess what's the answer. Alrighty, time for the answer. If your answer is C, the capture rate is the best among the units in the area, congratulations, you're correct. Consistently through multiple tests that I conduct, the capture speed always changes to the best rate regardless of the better capturing unit entering the area first or later. So here I will share with you guys, especially new players, some tips and tricks regarding capturing a point that may help you improve your gameplays. For tip number 1, avoid capturing a point using multiple squads. There are two main reasons why we don't do this. As we have observed in this video so far, having multiple squads in the same area do not speed up the capturing. In the early stage of the game, securing resources and positional advantage is extremely important. Therefore, you usually want to spread your troop out to capture as fast as possible and win the early game. And the other reason is a risk of taking more damage when your troop blob together. In the later part of the game, most players have access to artillery, which does massive damage in a large area. When you dearly need to contest a victory point for the last bit of clutch play, the last thing you want is your entire army to be obliterated by one single rocket artillery barrage. Having your squad capturing one by one not only avoid that scenario, but also maintain a constant pressure on the enemy. Tip number 2. Capture around the edge. Capture points in your possession yields a small field of vision around it. It is highly recommended that when you capture an enemy's territory, you keep your squad at the edge. The capturing is still performed as usual, while your opponent will have harder time guessing which squad you're using and how to counterattack. And for the last tip number 3, make use of walk capturing. This is a more advanced technique where your capturing troop will move forward before the point is fully captured, letting the squad behind them finish the job. In this early stage of the game, this can be a good balance between trying to capture a point and trying to get to an area as fast as possible. This technique also helps your army arrive at the same time to an area, allowing better contests at a key location. And that's it, everyone. I hope this video is helpful to your decisions in future matches. If there's anything I missed in the video or any advice you think that can help me in my future video, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I will make sure to do my best in the future video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.